What's the problem with outlining? That's the topic I'm addressing today in The Right Question. I'm Daphne Gray Grant, the publication coach, still in pandemic mode. I have a question from Alec Gilden, a writer based in Kuruwitu, Sri Lanka. Here's what he's asked by email. I watched the interview you did for the Coursera course Learning How to Learn. There you advised not to outline because it causes us to use our focused brain. But outlining is important, especially for authors who have to tackle a complex plot. So what do you suggest that fiction writers do? I wonder if summarizing the story might be a good alternative. Thanks for your question, Alec. For those of you who didn't see my interview, let me begin by summarizing my objections to outlining. First, it's boring. Second, it imposes too great a sense of duty or obligation on the writer. In other words, it's the opposite of fun or interesting. But finally, my biggest problem is that it forces writers into the linear and logical parts of their brain. Now, most of us living in Western society love that area of our brain. We're really comfortable with it, but the big problem is that it's so predictable. If you want to come up with new and creative ideas for your novel, then you want to be lodged in the creative part of your brain. This is why I so strongly endorse mind mapping. See link to all the blog posts and videos I've done on mind mapping in the show notes below. To address your specific question, Alec, writers can generally be divided into two categories: planners and pantsers. The planners are the ones who need a really good idea about exactly where their plot is going to go before they write a word. Pantsers, on the other hand, are willing to fly by the seat of their pants and see where the characters take them. If you're worried about not having an outline, Alec, I'm going to guess that you're a planner. But let me tell you something important. There's a big difference between plotting and outlining. Yes, you'll want to plot in advance, but you don't need an outline to do that. To plot, ask yourself some questions. What do you or your characters want to happen in your story? When does it need to happen? Why did it happen? Essentially, by asking questions like what, when, why, you're becoming a newspaper reporter for your own story. And you don't need to write those answers in the form of an outline. Do it as a mind map. Then start writing your first draft. Once you've finished your first draft and you're ready to start editing, that's when you can consider outlining. I always recommend doing outlines retrospectively, after you've finished writing. When you write, you want to be creative. When you edit, you want to be linear and logical. The retrospective outline can be a little like an engineering plan. It will show you whether your structure is working and if everything is in the right place. If you're working on the type of book where timing is exceptionally important, I'm thinking of tightly plotted murder mysteries here, for example, you might consider preparing a formal timeline as well. This will help prevent you from making mistakes related to chronology. Finally, let me wrap up with a quote from the wonderful American novelist Anthony Doerr. He's the author of one of my all-time favorite books, All the Light We Cannot See. Fiction writing is just an excuse to go discover interesting things. Alec, when I advise people to avoid outlining before writing, many of them think I'm suggesting avoiding outlining altogether. This is not true. I simply suggest that you do your outlining later, after you've finished writing. If you'd like to learn more about how to make your writing a happier and more rewarding process, check out my latest book, Your Happy First Draft. It's not available in bookstores or on Amazon. The only place you can get it is my website. Link below and in the show notes.